Are we live?
We are live.
You are live. Anything you say is out there forever.
It's forever on the internet. Can and will. Did you hear that come back in?
That was my phone.
Okay.
Oh, I was like, what the?
I was like,
I do the chat, so I'm like in here, but there's a little bit of a delay before it comes back to
gotcha.
here.
Yeah.
it's like, do I have something turned on wrong? There you go.
Did
Mike just texted me.
Did like 15 people just order salmon? What happened?
It's actually Salmon Fest. Yeah. It's like Hoagie Fest, but
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Like Red Lobster Lobster Fest. Reminds me I haven't made salmon in a little while. I'll have to maybe make that next week.
Yeah, plug your Instagram page.
Oh, what's Mr. Steve cooking?
Yeah,
You got to get on there. You got to check that out. It's really just for me. Like I just wanted because I'm always like, what can I make next week? I try to go like grocery shopping on the weekend and like get my stuff, and I'm like, what can I make?
Yeah.
So now I have this like just little chart of like, oh yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago when I made some freaking ziti? That was pretty good. Let's try that. Or I did that salmon with some honey ginger glaze on it. Let's do that again.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. Looks amazing. Oh.
No professional training.
Some tacos. Yeah.
We have white people taco night. We have like actual taco nights.
Yeah. Two totally different.
Oh, it is.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, my birthday dinner last night was pretty slamming.
Yeah. Happy belated. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm seeing, oh man, like a red sauce.
Yeah,
oysters and oh my god.
I made the sauce real quick and then just put as much seafood as I could find in there.
Oh, I see some human robot pilsner in the mix. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I was like, Italian food, Italian pilsner. Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm the same way. I'm a pizza junkie. I make pizza every week. Yeah.
I do too.
Like without fail. Like,
Yeah. No, that became like a big thing during quarantine for me.
Nice.
Is I just all of a sudden was like, I got the pizza camp book.
Yeah, me too.
And then I just started making pizza every day. What's up, Evan? What's up, Brett? Thank you guys for saying hi. Yeah, dude. So pizza, dude. I feel like I'm still experimenting, right? So like I feel like when I post pictures, it gets kind of boring because I do like a cheese and a meat every time. But I'm constantly like tweaking something with the dough or the sauce or something like that. So I'm making a cheese pizza all the time. But
like,
what do you cook it on?
I've got a crazy oven that's older than me. So I started on a steel and then I lower it to the lower level, which is a stone, so that I get the radiant heat from the steel. And then I move it to my bottom broiler. So it's like a three.
You move it during the cook?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great. My apartment is like, it used to be all home brewing stuff, and now it's all pizza stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How many brewers do we talk to that do pizza?
I don't know. It's quite a few, right?
It's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've got a theory about it. It's like they all took their DIY home brewing hobby, and they're like, well, now I do it professionally, so I'm going to not do it at home.
What am I going to do at home?
I'm going to make sourdough. I'm going to make, all sorts of other stuff. Yeah.
But I always talk about, I feel like brewing and baking are very similar.
Yeah.
You got to know what's going in and then do that. You're not tasting along the way and adding this or adding that. You got to kind of have your game plan going in.
Plan your work and work your plan. Yeah. So it's like art meets science. That's why I love it.
And that's why I'm horrible at baking and good at cooking.
All right, what do you think? You want to try to get it started?
Let's get it started.
And then we'll just
here, as the Black Eyed Peas once said.
Mike texted me, okay, have a good night. And then he just messaged me back, sorry, wrong text. See, we're about to hit record. Hop on when you...
We got one from my friend Fish in my group chat with those guys the other day. It was like turkey, red grapes. So we just started all texting him our grocery list for the next 3 days. It's like, I fuck up one time. God.
All right. Oh, I got to.
You got to what?
I need to record it on my computer too.
Yeah. What do you? If you want to
Just record it.
If you want to be
know.
technical about it.
Yeah. If you want to just do what we do. All right. So let's add a.
Which volume is our sounders? This guy?
Yes.
Woo! Grab his dick and twist it!
It's a good one, right?
It's like the rim shot, but
Yeah.
Grab his dick and twist it! Oh my god, this is an MMA fight, dude!
Twist that dick.
Grab his dick!
Test, test, test. Didn't come back through very well. Test, 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 test. There we go.
You've got waves.
I've got waves. Test, 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 test. That'll work. What happened to the music lady?
I'm not. Yeah, I was thinking.
I guess she's
Just
taking
thinking.
a quick break.
She might be doing a break, or she might be done. I think probably a break.
All right, ready to go?
Do it.
Should we take these down?
Yeah.
Crack a beer and join John and Mr. Steve as they explore the people, places, and brews of the craft beer world. You are now entering the Might Be Brews podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Might Be Brews, episode 74. My name is John. With me, as always, Mr. Steve. How are you doing tonight?
John, keep Mr. Steve's name out of your mother effing mouth.
Oh, that's a good one. I was trying so hard to come up with a Will Smith joke, and I just couldn't do it. But guys, if you can't tell, we've got a little bit of background noise. We are live on site at Root Down Brewing Company in beautiful Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. At the moment, we are joined with head brewer Chris. Chris, how you doing tonight?
Good, doing well. Thanks for having me,
Dude, thank you so much for having us. We're super excited. Just to let everybody know who's watching and listening, we're also going to have Mike on as well. He's at another event, and he's going to be here shortly, but he's going to sit down and join the party. But we're just going to get things started.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Spirit, yeah.
Dude, so Phoenixville used to be stomping grounds for me. I used to work here for a long time, and we'll probably talk about it with Mike a little bit, but I've got some history with this building.
Yeah.
And I was literally just coming through town all the time. And it's crazy how I switched jobs about 5 years ago, so I wasn't coming to Phoenixville anymore, and how much it's changed just in that time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. Our head chef, he used to own a restaurant down the street here, and he's told me some stories.
Yeah, I
back
believe
in the
it.
day.
But it's funny because I remember a long time ago, people were telling me like, they're putting money into Phoenixville, and this was at least 15 years ago, I think, right? Probably 15 years ago, and people were saying all they were doing was putting down new concrete and like new street lamps like on the sidewalks, and they're like, this is going to be like the next like really cool town to hang out. And they were completely right. And it's just crazy how much it's evolved in that time with all of these amazing breweries and restaurants, and it's such a cool little downtown area.
Yeah, absolutely. If you avoid the downtown for like a year and then come back, you're like, what happened?
Yeah,
where
for
is this
sure.
town?
Oh yeah, it just evolves so quickly.
Yeah.
How old is all that construction like that way? That's not very old, is it?
Like all the condos and apartments back there. Yeah, I want like within the last 5 years, I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah. It was here when I started, but I mean, it's I mean, yeah, I grew up in this general area too. I grew up in Berwyn, and I'd come here every now and then, like in the high school days, and I stayed away for a few years and then came back, and like I knew there was an Iron Hill.
Yep.
And that was about it. And
Yeah,
then I was
right?
like, and that's it. Everything else changed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, what does Phoenixville have? They've got Root Down, obviously. They've got Sly Fox.
Stable 12.
Stable
And now
12.
the Stable
Yeah.
12, and what's the guy on the west side? Rebel Hill.
Rebel Hill. Yep. Yeah. Good friends of ours up on 724.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Good people.
So the place that I used to work is like right across the street from Rebel Hill.
Okay.
So they were
yeah.
just building it as I was leaving. And I was like, of course, they're putting in a brewery across the street from my office. And I'm leaving this job, but it's cool. It's cool. So, Chris, when we have a new guest on, what we like to do is ask them what their earliest or first craft beer experience was. So,
yeah,
the way that I like to try to say it is, what was that moment where you had something that wasn't a Miller Lite or Bud Light or whatever it is that was like, wow, this is something special.
Yeah.
Does anything pop out in your head?
Yeah, there's one that I immediately started thinking of when you asked the question. Back in the college days, I was in Ithaca, New York, and yeah, just imbibing heavily on Busch Light and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then one day I had Omegang's Abbey Double.
Okay.
And it was a bomber bottle. It was like cork and cage and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this thing? And it was dark, it was like amber kind of color. And I drank it, and I remember just getting like raisin and cheese kind of flavors out of it, but not in an offensive way.
Sure.
It just hit my palate so hard to the point where I was like, oh, they must have added like an extract. Like you don't get that from malt. You don't get that from the brewing process.
Right. Yeah.
And then my friends were like, no, that's it's just it's process driven. This is just like, what comes from that yeast and that malt and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I just remember being completely blown away by that. And that kind of started my fascination with like, okay, if you could do that with an amber colored beer, what about a darker beer? What about, an IPA? And everything just kind of snowballed from there.
So, what other beers did you start getting into? And did you start off like, okay, I found this Belgian style that I really like. Did you just go like really crazy into Belgians, or did you start exploring styles? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Even to this day, Orval might be like my desert island beer. I don't care if it's room temp or like fresh or old, like it's just perfect. I love that beer. It's got the Brettanomyces that can kind of take over time. You get these like banana bread kind of flavors in it. I think it's like perfect. So yeah, I went down that rabbit hole for a while, and then slowly got into hoppier styles, because like this is like early to mid 2000s, and any IPA was bitter and like had Simcoe and Cascade and Chinook in it, and it was like really resiny and intense, and I hated it at first, and then like slowly kind of got my palate developed to it, and then it was like, no, West Coast IPAs are amazing. And then I discovered Flower Power, which is Ithaca Brewing, where I was living, and I was like, that blew my mind. So so I went down that rabbit hole, and then kind of post college, I got into a really big German lager phase. I don't know what led me to it, but something about the cleanliness of it, like the bready, the liquid bread kind of factor really hit me. And then there was an English phase. So it's just been like this ongoing kind of evolution of just like discovering a new style and just like going full bore and being obsessed with it like intensely for like a year.
That's funny. Belgians were one of my gateways. That's kind of how I got into like, oh my God, there's more than just yellow fizzy water.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always thought that Belgian doubles would be a nice gateway for a new beer drinker. There's a little bit of sweetness in it. It's not overpowering.
Not bitter.
I wonder why it's not had its moment in the sun here in this revolution.
Somebody like me that's a younger, newer beer drinker, Belgians aren't my favorite, and I'm starting to come around on them a bit more, and I'm finding ones that I like more than others. But sometimes when that banana and clove are too heavy, or that Belgian yeast has too much of that funk in it, for me, sometimes it turns me off. However, there's been times where I've had a bunch of them that have just, been, I guess just well balanced and really hit the spot for me. Yeah. So I think it just depends. And I guess I could kind of see that where a guy that came in with, when I started drinking craft beers, I had one of my first ones at Station Tap Room.
Oh yeah.
And it was a Sculpin, just the original Sculpin. Nice. I was like, this is awesome. That was one of the first times where I had something that was really hoppy but balanced and really did a lot for me. And but yeah, so like, you know, but that was right at the beginning of like things were going away from that West Coast, I feel like, and then people started fruiting beers with like, or when I say fruiting, it was more like the grapefruit sculpins.
Oh yeah,
and the pineapple sculpins and things like that. So it was a different time for me.
We used to wait in line for a pineapple or grapefruit sculpin.
I know, right?
It was like an event.
It's so crazy how times have changed. Even in the little, I mean, you know, somebody like you that's, you know, been started off with Belgian, I'm sure you've seen a completely different beer evolution than I have.
Oh yeah, like I mean, the reason I got into those styles initially because it was like imports were king at the time. Like it was before the boom happened. So like, if you want a good beer, quote unquote, it was like maybe you had a craft brewery in your, you know, within like a 15-mile radius. If not, it was like you get out your wallet, you go to the beer distributor, and you buy a case of beer.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll take a case of Chimay for $120.
Right? Yeah. Man, that's so crazy. So when did brewing become a thing for you?
For me, it was
like, you know, home brewing, or, you know, how did it start?
For me, it was home brewing. I graduated college in 2008 at the height of the economic recession, and I couldn't get a job to save my life, and I had to move back in with my parents because I literally had $0 in my bank account. So all my other friends weren't around. They were all like, you know, a lot of them were in New York and doing their own thing. So I had a lot of downtime, and I was like, all right, 5-gallon homebrew bucket time. So
right.
I went to a place called Brew Your Own Beer and Wine in near Ardmore. I forgot the exact town right now.
How'd they come up with that name?
I don't know. I had to do some mystery. But really nice guy. Opened the shop. He just kind of like mentored me. Like, here's exactly what you do. He gave me the whole, like, you know, these instructions. And I went back to my parents' place and brewed a 5-gallon batch. And it was, if I drank it now, I think it would be terrible. It probably tasted like it fermented in a trash can. But it was like 5-ish%, and it would have, you know, it tasted like beer. And I was like, this is fantastic. So I just kind of kept going from there. So yeah, I was home brewing for a number of years, and actually buying ingredients from Mike, who's, you know, now our owner at Root Down, because he owned a shop in Downingtown called Artisan Homebrew.
Yeah.
So I was buying from him for years, and then literally I was just, you know, a guy who was in his kitchen making 5-gallon batches, and then kind of had a falling out with my previous line of work, and was bitter and wanted to do something more fun for a living. And Mike was at the most perfect timing possible. Mike was like, you want to be an assistant brewer at a brewery? And I was like, yes.
That'd be
oh my
awesome.
God, yes.
Perfect timing.
So, and this has been my first and only brewing gig. I started here as an assistant under the wing of a veteran brewer named Steve Bischoff, who was with Sly Fox.
Mm-hmm.
He literally trained me from the ground up. He taught me how to wash a keg, fill a keg, you know, clean a keg, eventually clean fermenters, you know, mash in, brew, the whole 9 yards. There's Mike. And
take a seat whenever you're ready. Just hop on.
He trained me from the ground up, and then and
seats taken.
You know, I'm still here to this day, and eventually, you know, he parted ways, and I kind of got the head brewing job. So yeah,
that's awesome.
That's it. The evolution's been kind of, you know, kind of quick. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Do you ever remember home brewing and brewing a beer and you were like, I might be good at this? Like, you know, you're talking about these trash can beers, but like, did it eventually turn into something where you're like, you know, I think I'm onto something, or you know, anything like that?
I always second guess myself, because I think classic homebrewer problem is like, you give it to your friends and your friends aren't going to be mean to you. It's like, yeah, it's great. You know, like as they toss it over their shoulder.
Right.
But yeah, do
you remember like a style or a specific beer that you did where you're like, I might actually, you know, be cut out for this, or like, I think I'm actually, you know, this was a really good beer?
I did an English mild a long time ago, and I remember I brought it to people who were harsh critics, and they said it was good. And I was like, okay, this was like kind of a naked style, and I think I did it pretty well. And I was like, okay, maybe, you know, it at least inspired me to keep going. I don't know if I quite was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a career move, you know, but
nice. Yeah, that's cool. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Try to get as close as you can to the mic when we're talking. Dude, first off, thank you. Dude, I feel like we've been friends and friendly and talking for so long, and I'm almost embarrassed that it's taken as long as it has to actually make this happen.
I agree. A lot of it was my fault in a way, just for being a scatterbrain. And I don't know why it didn't happen.
You know, who knows for sure? I want to say that, you know, opening a brewery with a restaurant and all this stuff, you know, you kind of let me in the doors early on, and I saw things happening and how quickly you were growing and how much stuff that you were dealing with. And, you know, I think I came in here to talk to you one time, and you were also giving an interview to a newspaper and maybe had somebody for an interview, like all happening at the same time. And I'm like, you know, opening a brewery is probably not that easy. Like it was a very, I just immediately got the perception of how hectic.
Well, it got hectic right away because we got lucky enough to win GABF.
Yeah,
So
like, exactly.
like, we came out of the gates and it was like, oh, you got a gold medal and you're brewery of the year, you know? And it was just like, what? So that's probably how that newspaper or magazine or whatever it was.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
That's where
next.
that came from.
Yeah,
you know. So
well, I think the newspaper was just like you're opening a place. You didn't have it.
that
the doors open.
Oh, Reading.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading.
Yep, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But all right. So since it's your first time on the show, Mike, and we're going to start over with you, we need to know your
this is crazy
first.
To sound though.
Yeah,
I got to
right?
get
Sound
used
good?
to this.
I'm impressed.
It's good. Yeah.
Is it weird hearing your voice?
It's weird hearing my voice
And
on a slight delay.
Yeah, my trick used to be taking one ear off.
That's what those DJs do.
Maybe, yeah.
That works.
Yeah, so that used to help me. I ended up, you know, after a year and a half, got used to it. But didn't I, for like the first like half of the episodes, have one ear off?
Yeah, you were definitely a one ear guy. And
Yeah,
for sure. I don't get it.
So, Mike, take us back to your first craft beer experience. What was the first beer that made you think like, oh, like there's another level of beer out here, and changed your mind about things?
Yeah, that was for me the one where I went, oh wow, this is craft beer. Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale.
Celebration. I was expecting pale ale.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was Celebration. I was at that time I was drinking crappy beer, diving into craft beer. And then everybody, it was just this hyped up thing around, it was like 1998. It was a hyped up thing. People were like, oh, you got to try this Celebration.
Yeah.
I hated the first sip.
Yep.
I was disgusted by the second sip.
Yeah.
And by the third sip, I went, wait a minute, hold on. Something's happening. I'm experiencing something.
Right. Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I finished the bottle. I was drinking it right from the bottle. Yeah. And I went, holy hell, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I got to do another. And I think that was the most.
Nice.
As he was picturing this, as he was saying that, I was picturing Teen Wolf. Remember the Teen Wolf? He got like a little bit of hair on his ear. And he's like, what's this? Wait a second.
Then I'm on a
2 minutes later, he's
ironically enough, after I finished a 6-pack, I was on top of a minivan driving down the highway. It was a bad night, but you know, that's wiped clean off my record at this point. So,
expunged.
Yeah,
that's the term.
That's it.
Nobody knows that term except for people that have had something expunged.
Shout out to Evan. He said Mike is the one that taught me to brew as well.
Evan's a great brewer.
I love Evan.
I mean, yep. And he was supposed to come up here. He just texted me.
Oh, yeah?
And he was like, sorry, man, I can't make it. And I wanted to be like, I'm not even there right now. I'm running late. So,
such a good dude.
Yeah, he really is.
So tell me about...
let's just talk about Evan.
Yeah, let's just do that.
I love Evan.
Dude, he's like been one of our like original fans, and I didn't even realize that he was like in with all the breweries too. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
he does all our security.
Yeah, for like everybody, for like everybody that we know. So, and I always just see him out too. I'll just like randomly grab dinner or drink somewhere, and he's there too with his family or whatever. So that's awesome. But tell me about when you got into brewing. Like, you know, what was going on with home brewing, and then, you know, tell us about how maybe, I don't know what happened first, but when that evolved into the homebrew store.
Okay, so, man, I haven't told this story in a very long time.
Okay.
So it all started, I I got into craft beer. Like I said, drinking Sierra. I was working at Exton Beverage at the time, 1999. They were kind of in the forefront of craft beer. So I was like just diving into this new craft beer scene.
Yeah.
Really getting into it. And then I discovered Victory Brewing Company right in Downingtown. I lived in Thorndale. This was perfect. Victory is where I cut my teeth in craft beer. And to this day, they're, number one in my book.
Yep.
So I was always into it. And then I joined the Marines and I got stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And at the time, North Carolina had no good craft beer. I was already into craft beer, and now I'm going out on a weekend
Place where there's nothing.
in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I was lucky if I could find a Sam Adams, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. So I found a shop that had Mr. Beer kits.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to make my own beer. So me and some buddies, we made beer and we put it in our locker in our barracks.
Right.
And we would just,
Was that allowed?
no, it definitely
I didn't think it
wasn't.
was.
No,
Figured I'd
no,
check.
no, not at all.
Speaking of expunged.
Yeah. Yeah, that lasted. We did 2 batches. And mind you, we would just let this ferment and 2 weeks later just drink it flat. We did nothing. We just drank it, and it was garbage, but I really felt like I was creating something. I had fun with it. I think on our 3rd batch, we had an inspection. It got caught by a gunnery sergeant. He made us dump it out. We then moved the show to a buddy's house who was married, so he was able to live off base.
Nice.
So we played around with it, but it fizzled out quickly. None of my buddies were really into it because it tasted like crap.
Right.
It wasn't good, but we, I was like into it because I was just like, I kept saying to myself, when I get out of the Marines, I'm opening a brewery. I got out of the Marines and I was dead broke, and I went, it takes a lot of money to open a brewery.
Right,
So
yeah.
I'm not going to do that right away. And that's when I was like, but I love brewing beer.
Yeah.
So then I decided to go in the direction of, let me open a homebrew shop, because everything I heard and read, Bell's in Michigan, that's what they did. They started out as a homebrew shop.
Okay.
And then they, became a brewery
I didn't know that.
attached to
That's
a
cool.
homebrew shop. So that was my vision, and started Artisan Homebrew, really as just a thing to kind of buy time to kind of fine tune brewing, home brewing, get better at it, and kind of create a job for myself while I'm doing that.
Yeah. Right.
And then naturally, I don't know how long it was, 5 years, I decided to kind of make the jump. But I decided that it couldn't be a part of Artisan Homebrew. I had to separate it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when I made the decision. I was getting married, and I told my wife 3 days before I got married, I'm selling the business, I'm selling the homebrew shop, and you're going to marry an unemployed dude
Right.
with the dream of opening a brewery.
Yeah.
And it was, kind of
Wow.
had to go all in at that point.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, and then that's how that kind of jumped into it. So
You didn't think you could have expanded into the dress shop next door to have the brewery?
no, I really did think that. I'm not gonna lie, all
Right.
those thoughts were in my head. Taking up the hardwood floor, and because there was a basement below that
Yeah.
shop, and I was like, oh, that's where we'll put the tanks. And I tried, but no, you just needed a bigger footprint and everything.
All right, so before we get into too much more of the story of opening this place, I want to quick talk about the first beer that we're drinking here. I still have a little bit. I think you do too.
I'm late to the party, so
That's
yeah,
all
I
right.
don't know
But this
what
is
you have.
Zeal?
this is Zeal.
Oh yeah, great, Chris.
Yeah. So
did a
Chris, if you
great
don't
job
mind,
on
tell
that.
us a little bit about Zeal, because I absolutely love this beer. But tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what it is and the recipe.
Yeah, sure thing. It's it kind of speaks to like an ongoing kind of trend that we've been doing, where we've been taking old German styles and kind of doing a modern update on it with New Zealand hops. So Zeal is a German Helles. It's the color, the IBUs, everything about it is like a by the book German Helles, but we do it with Wakatu and Motueka, which are, believe it or not native to Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I get more like lime zest and kind of like almost like a lemon lime zest kind of flavor out of it. And
Yeah, I get that.
yeah,
I can see that.
we just had a lot of them on hand, and we were like, we tried them in IPAs, they were okay, and then we started thinking, okay, what if we did this in a lager and we tried it with this is I think one of the first experiments where we were like, let's kind of marry these two styles together. And we were like, oh, this is fantastic. It's very easily drinkable, very warm weather appropriate. It still has the spiciness that you associate with like the noble hops that I would associate with like the German styles, but it's got a little bit of that extra like kind of slight tropical fruit vibe going on.
I don't know what it is about New Zealand hops, but now anytime I see them on a menu, I go for it.
Yeah, they're fun. They're
They're
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like Chris said, we bought them thinking that, oh man, we're gonna do a lot of IPAs with these, and we did some IPAs with it, and the IPAs were good, but the hop profile was a supercharged noble hop, and it just didn't give it didn't give the IPA an explosion.
Sure.
But that's when like Chris kind of was talking, and it kind of came into the idea of, okay, they'll give a lighter beer an awesome explosion.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
that's when we went in that direction. Even with our wit beer, we started using
Absolutely.
some of that.
And our Pilsner too, like we started developing a Pilsner around it too, and I've been so happy with it. Yeah.
I believe it.
I definitely like what you did with that Zeal. It's like I was worried that it was going to become an IPL, like an IPA lager, but it's not that. It's still a lager. It's still crisp with just that little backdrop of the hop in there for you. It's really good.
Yeah, still trying to respect the style itself, like not trying to. Yeah, exactly. It's not dry hopped. It's not.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like what you said about the noble hops because it does kind of give me that earthiness and the that bitterness that you kind of think when you think noble hop. But I mean, you say lemon lime and then I get it right away. And I wish that I had a palate that could like figure out the words, because as soon as you say it, I'm like, I get it immediately. But maybe it's also like one of those brain tricks. Like you could tell me bubblegum or something, or like
talk about this a lot,
me and Chris
chicken tacos, and I'll be like, oh, I get it.
One thing we do at Root Down, and it's kind of like something that we consciously choose to do, is we don't get super descriptive of our beers in the sense of being descriptive like that, because we've all had our palates developed since we were 2 years old. You know what you taste, whether you know the technical name for it or it's just, a memory like, oh, that's like gummy worms. And to you, that's good.
Right.
So we found like when we try to explain stuff like, oh, this tastes like white gummy bears and fresh cut lawn and lemongrass and all that, people get upset if they don't associate it with that.
Sure.
So we kind of don't want to do that mental manipulation of what you're going to taste. And we want you to dive into the beer by us just giving you the basic and saying it's a light Helles, slightly spicy, dry finish.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Whatever you taste, enjoy.
Sure. No, I like that approach.
You come up with in your head what you want.
That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes I get, it's this weird balance, right? Because I get totally why a brewery would do that. But at the same time, sometimes I'll go to a place and they just have names of the beers, sometimes a style. And I'm just like, well, if I've got like 4 American IPAs, like how do I know which one I want to order?
Yeah.
If I don't know that, like, well, this one is New Zealand hops or this one's, a double dry hop, this and that or whatever. So like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to, for a consumer, I guess, sometimes to like. But I get the decision also.
We go back and forth on what the right
It's
move is.
Yeah, it's got to be a tough thing to figure out.
Yeah,
I get it. So let's go into you're deciding that you're going to go pro. I always use that term. You're going to go pro, right? You're going to open up your own place.
Go broke. That's what it was.
Right?
For at least a few years.
And you're going to try to find a spot. What year was that? And what made you? Because you were looking in Coatesville too, right? Like
I was looking up near where Animated is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go up there.
Yep.
I was looking all over, man. Downingtown was my main focus because that's where the shop was. That's where I lived. I lived in Thorndale. Yeah. And things just weren't working out. And then I was looking at a place on 282. Sorry. Near the Schuylkill Trail. Or not Schuylkill Trail. What's that running? Struble. Yeah, I'm sorry. Struble Trail. So I actually engaged into a letter of agreement with landlords, and we started discussing opening a place there. But I knew about this place, and I really liked the direction that Phoenixville was going.
Yep.
It was all these breweries coming in, right? And most people were like, oh, you don't want to go up there. It's a bunch of breweries. And I'm like, no, I do. I want to be around breweries because I love going to places like Asheville, North Carolina, where it's a destination.
Right.
And, you know, to use that political term, a rising tide rises all ships, right? Like that's the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to be a part of it. Jarrett from Bluebird, the distillery, he's up at the bar right now. I just saw.
Yeah.
We all we're a community up here of distillers and brewers, and it's the community. That's what I wanted. I knew this place existed, but Chatty Monks had a lease for this place. And, you know, I was like, oh, whatever. So I'm dealing with this place at Struble Trail, and then all of a sudden my phone rings and a buddy's like, yo, I heard Chatty Monks pulled out of that spot. And right like that same day, the landlord for the property we were looking at in Downingtown started acting all weird, and like they had a bigger fish that they were ready to hook. Okay. And I was like, this might be it. So I drove up here, and I called the number on the window, and the realtor, he was like, oh, I can you know, put you in touch with the owner. I'll get back to you in like a week or so. And I was like, no, like I'd like to talk now. And the funny thing was, the realtor was over at Steel City, a coffee shop just across the street.
Okay, yeah.
So he walks out and he's like, I'm standing at the corner. Let's talk now. Then.
Nice, yeah.
And it just, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was just like the
fell in
universe
place.
aligned.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we got this spot, and it's, you know, it was scary because it's a big spot.
It is a big spot.
Yeah, starting out, you're like, all right, this is more than we need.
But it's such a cool building. Me having worked in Phoenixville for so long and knowing like the history of it.
Yeah,
and it's been here forever. You didn't buy it from the guy.
I don't own this building. I didn't buy it. I'm not. I leased this.
Okay.
Yeah, but he bought it from Superior Beverage Owner.
Okay, so that guy bought it and then he's leasing it to you. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were dealing with Tom or.
No. Tom's great. Tom has been in here after we redone it. He loves seeing the transition. Yeah. He still owns Superior Beverage.
Yep. Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you decide on this spot, and this was not at all the space that it is now. I mean, there was a lot of different things going on here. I swear, I walked through here, and there was like stuff from like soda.
Oh yeah,
and like, you know, the soda business and things like that.
Yeah,
still
the
around.
root beer stuff.
Yeah,
still here. Yeah, it was. But I mean, it was just so. I don't know. Just the bones of this place are just so beautiful.
Yeah.
That like I was afraid to like put drywall over anything. I was like, no, I just want to keep it completely exposed the way it is.
Yep.
Throw some graffiti up, and you know, I mean, there's a charm in that. That's the kind of look I really like. Like it's a look of, and I've said this before, you know, and we're a restaurant and a brewery, so people don't want to hear this, but it's a look of dilapidation, but like beautiful dilapidation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it's pretty.
I get it, because it's a really
it's clean in here.
Yes.
You know, like you could eat off the floor, but maybe not right.
But it's industrial. It's got an industrial feel.
Yeah.
But it's also got like, you know, that old school, like an older building. Like I get what you mean, like with the dilapidation, but it's so cool back here. Like if anybody hasn't been here, it's a beautiful tap room space. You've got these like incredible floors, these high ceilings, a beautiful, humongous, that's a concrete bar, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Heaviest bar in Chester County, I guarantee.
Right. So that in itself is a cool place. But then you walk down that little ramp, and there's this humongous space back here.
And then it's like two different vibes.
Yeah. You know? It's a completely different experience almost back here. So you're putting work in to get this place together. And at what point did you know the entire time that there was going to be a restaurant involved?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I didn't want. Trust me, man. My early business models. Didn't wanted to go the food truck route.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're going to pick up a lease this big with this big of a space, you know, you need that extra income coming in. So yeah, I mean, we struggled the first 2 years maybe with the kitchen because our focus, we want to be a brewery. We want to make good beer, and that was it. And like, we'll give you a pretzel and some fries and like, you know, just easy food.
Yeah.
and that worked. That worked for us for 2 years. It really did. Like I said, not to go back to saying, winning the GABF, but that brought a lot of people in for us. So we were able to get by with just beer sales, pint sales. Then you're in Phoenixville, and Phoenixville is filled with amazing restaurants. So then the pressure starts to be like, all right, if you're going to play with the big dogs, you need to start putting out some good food. So that's when we hired the chef we have now. And he's just incredible. Now our food is next level. Like now people used to always go, oh, we want to go to Root Down, grab some beers, maybe an appetizer, then go someplace in town to grab a bite to eat. And that's cool if you still want to do that. But now people are like, yo, let's go to Root Down and grab some dinner.
How long has the chef been here?
Well, he's been here for about 2 years, and I feel like we haven't been able to utilize him because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we bring in this amazing chef, and then we're shut down, and it's like, his name's Guy. We're like, hey, Guy, you got to make pizzas for takeout. That's all we're doing is just takeout, and he did an amazing job, and people were like, these are the best pizzas we had. But we just weren't utilizing them the way that we want to for his talents.
I'm going to ask Chris, is the pizza good? You're a pizza expert like me.
No, it's good. It's very good. Yeah, no, I'll
he
get
does it the right way, natural yeast, all that stuff.
No, he's using a wild Polish. He's doing it right. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we were chatting about both of us are into making pizzas.
Dude, I would love to get Chris to make some pizzas here.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I mean, you figure all that stuff out, but when you're opening, you do some home brewing stuff, but what's your decision on brewing? Are you going to take the brewing responsibilities on yourself?
No. I knew I couldn't do that.
Okay.
So early on, we had Steve Bischoff. Do you remember Steve? Steve worked at the homebrew shop. I knew him. He was a brewer at Sly Fox. Amazing brewer, extremely talented. He was the main brewer. So originally starting out, it was going to be me and him brewing in the brew house. That was the game plan. I wanted to open a brewery so I could brew.
Yeah.
I feel it was like 4 months after opening, I was like, I can't brew. Are you kidding me? There's so much other stuff to do. So I'm almost completely hands off, except for talking with Chris and all that.
Yeah.
So Steve really took the reins, and then Chris came in as an assistant with Steve.
What about like the recipes? Like when you're deciding to open a place, what did you have on board that you're, or like in your mind, like, these are the beers that we're going to do? What was the original?
You reach a point that recipes are recipes. I mean, making good beer is beyond the recipe. Some of the best beers are a Pilsner, for example, a straight Pils malt, right? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be complicated. What makes a good beer is the attention to detail, the cleanliness, knowing when to transfer, how to transfer right, zero oxidation, like all the little fine stuff that's usually overlooked is what makes a good beer.
Yeah.
So recipes, I mean, we do our recipes, they're spin-offs of previous beers that tasted great.
Yeah.
So, we have Bine that tastes great. Then we go, all right, let's make another IPA, but let's just up the percentage of Vienna, same recipe, up the percentage of Vienna, change out these 3 hops, stick with the same yeast, little lower grain, a little lower ABV. Every recipe just kind of spins off the previous recipe.
Gotcha.
And I wouldn't say we had a recipe that we had beers that just didn't sell or didn't do great because of the style.
Right.
But we take that recipe and we do that same grain bill and everything, and we just kind of switch it up and brew another beer with a different name. And then for some reason that one's I don't know.
For sure. Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to it. But the recipes are the easiest part of brewing, I think.
Yeah. They don't. I mean, I not to say like, oh, I just slap it together, but it's like we kind of develop targets for like, okay, we want these flavors in it. I want this IBUs. I want this kind of color. And it's like, okay, it's not that hard to develop. Yeah, it's really more process driven, I would say. Particularly
the process is the most important.
Yeah, particularly with lagers.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did one. It's it's Pils malt and Wakatu hops, and I just took a sample from the tank today. I'm like, this beer is beautiful. Like there's nothing terribly special about it, but it's the nakedness that makes
just
it beautiful.
doing it right.
Yeah.
And
Even when I owned the homebrew shop, you know, and people would come in to put a recipe together, I would always tell people the rule of 5. If it has more than 5 ingredients in it, you're wasting your damn time. You know,
figure out the 5.
Figure out the 5.
Yeah.
You know, like even with a stout, maybe you can add a little more to a stout because you got wiggle room with the robust dark malts. But if you're coming to me and going, I'm putting Crystal 40, Crystal 80, Crystal 120, aromatic, biscuit malt, I'm going aromatic, biscuit, they're almost the same. It's going to get lost in the sauce once you add all that roasted barley. Why do you have 3 different crystal malts in there? Stick to one. You know, like it's so simple is better.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
KISS.
Yeah, right.
So
you're coming out with beers, and how was the reception when you first opened? You know, what was it like, you know, opening the doors? I'm sure that's a scary moment, right? Like you've got these plans in your head, you've got these beers brewed, you think you know how things are, you know, how you think things are going to go, and then you actually open the doors this one day. What was that like?
John, I'm dead serious. I wish I could answer that question, but it's been 5 years since then.
Yeah.
And I would say the first month, maybe 2 months of running Root down is a blur to me because it was so chaotic.
Okay. No, that's a good answer.
I'm not kidding you.
I believe it.
It's a blur.
Yeah.
It was long nights, falling asleep on grain bags in the back, waking up early, doing shit right away, and then bartending. You know, like it was just doing everything because you're so nervous and you want to oversee everything. To me, it went smoothly, and that was because I had the right people in place. It wasn't me that made it run smoothly. We had a great kitchen staff. We had amazing bartenders, which most of them are still with us today.
Who's the guy I pointed out earlier that I've seen like since the beginning?
Justin.
And he's our assistant brewer now.
Yeah.
He started out as a bartender with us, and now he's our assistant brewer.
He's kicking ass.
Yeah.
Shout out Justin. I don't know if we said it on mic, but that anniversary party where he did that System of a Down cover.
Oh yeah.
Like on karaoke or for some reason. I think that was what it was.
I think
unless
he was
I was
in
here
a death
another
metal
night.
band or something, right? Wasn't he?
I think so.
Like he was a singer for a band at one point.
Hopefully
like
he listens to this, but I just hope he knows that somebody appreciated his performance when he did that. So everything's crazy. You're opening up, but people are coming in and you're working your tail off. At what point is there a moment? Was it Bind? Was it GABF? What was that moment where you're like, this is going to work?
The moment for me and my most memorable moment, and I think we're 3 months in, it was a packed Saturday night, and I was behind the bar, and music was playing, and I can't remember if we had a DJ or it was just our music playing. And I took a step back from the bar, and we have these steps behind the bar that go up to an office.
Yep.
And I went up like 3 steps, and I mean, it was like packed, elbow to elbow. And I watched the crowd bounce into the music, a packed crowd, and everybody had a smile on their face, and that meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Like at that moment, I was like, I don't know any of these people, but they're happy with something I created. And that was my moment of like, if I can just do this, if this can just happen over and over, not make millions, not like just smiling faces in a crowd, holding beers in their hand, making memories. That was my moment.
Yeah. I love that. I love, you know, thinking or trying to like vicariously experience a moment like that, because I mean, that's got to be such a cool feeling to me. I think we've said this before, but like if you're a band and you play a song and you get a crowd reaction that you want, like they're into it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a similar feeling, right? Like you've put how much time, blood, sweat, tears, money, whatever, and then you're seeing like it kind of starting to pay off, right? You know, there's all these people that are like enjoying it. That's got to be like just the craziest feeling.
And everything you see and hear, like the direction and the vision, it's a vulnerable moment for you because it's your expression to the world. It's your art, and you're going like, I hope they like it. Your art, right? It's like personal.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it
makes you feel
we got
shitty.
cornhole going.
I told them no problem. They can cornhole all they want.
All right. If they don't, you're like, wow, they didn't like me. That's how you take it.
Sure.
And when they do like it, when the crowd does like the graffitied walls, the beer that we produce, the style that the logo, the energy we create in here, when they do like it, you go, oh, they did like my art.
Yeah.
And it's like a rewarding feeling.
Yep.
And then you'll read a Yelp review and it's like, that mac and cheese was garbage.
So what happened first?
Shit, I didn't make it.
What happened first? GABF or Meltdown?
Oh God, I don't remember.
I don't know either. Somebody shout out Brett. He asked if in the chat, is there going to be a Meltdown 2.0?
I don't know. Brett, come in and complain about our service. I mean,
we need an angry.
That's what we need.
That's funny. That's a throwback.
That was just an organic weird thing that just kind of came and it was funny. Just happened.
I swear.
Now that guy has been back and drank the beer. He's a great dude.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, really cool dude. It's just kind of funny how the beer world works.
It is. It's funny.
So I checked in Meltdown on November 18th of 2017.
Okay.
So obviously the Meltdown happened before the beer.
When was GABF?
That was in September.
Right.
That was in September of
2018, I believe.
2018.
It was within the first calendar year of our operation.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think it was the following year. Yeah.
So that makes sense. The guy's like, hey, I'm in a new brewery and
It's like chicken or the egg.
It was his second,
somebody's not
it was
here
his-
for 103 seconds or whatever
his
it was.
second time here. I
Yeah.
mean, look, he's a good dude. He was drunk.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the video. I didn't want to show the video.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can't tell you how badly I wanted to see the video.
A lot of people.
Oh,
asked
I'm
to see it.
sure.
That dude owns a bear. He has a pet bear.
What?
Yeah, like when somebody was like, "Yo,
That
this
completely
is the
changes his
dude that
credibility.
complained it," and they show me his profile picture, and he had like a pet brown bear or something. I was like, I'm not messing with this dude. Like,
Oh, that's amazing.
and look, and I'm not kidding you. He's a really cool dude. It was
Yeah.
just,
No, I believe it.
It wasn't even a meltdown. It was, we had fun with it.
Yeah.
He was wrong with his facts, and we had video proof thanks to Evan with his
Yeah.
security company,
Shout
All
out
Point
Evan,
Security.
yes.
We had video proof of how long he was here. Blah blah blah. Anyway.
I'm siding with the guy with the bear.
Yeah.
That was completely new information to me.
So you do the. I thought that was such a cool thing too, that it was like a beer nerds collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't
So
it?
I knew Todd Farrell,
Yeah.
and he was
Now, speaking of Todd, shout out Todd, because I've known him for a long time, but for some reason, Mike, I don't know if I can place you there. I've told this story kind of a bunch of times on the podcast that before I even drank beer, I started playing softball with this crew of people.
Yeah.
Not real, like nobody had anything
Was
to
it
do
at
with
Kerr
beer
Park?
at the time. No, it was in like West Bradford.
Okay.
And it was Sean McGettigan,
Okay.
Gov, Todd, Ryan Dunn, like all of these crazy people that all of a sudden now are all in the beer industry.
Yeah. It's funny
The
how
guys
it
from
works.
Animated,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. But I can't remember if
No,
you
I
were there at
wasn't
all.
there.
You weren't
No.
there, okay?
No.
Because everybody's kind of interconnected, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like,
No,
well, who
I
else do
wasn't-
know from there.
There was I would say there was a few years, and honestly, I think that was when I was in the Marines.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think I was out of state.
But yeah, Todd's a great guy. He actually, when I was at the other Superior, I had him doing shirts for us.
Oh yeah,
When he was doing the clothes business and
he's
stuff
a
like
genius.
that. But
He's I mean, you should see some of the new stuff that he's got.
I believe
going.
it. I believe it. If anybody's
incredible.
wondering what we're talking about, Sky Todd. He had a clothes business. He's always just been into like elsewhere. He's always been into like graphic design and doing these amazing things. But he does a lot of does he do all of the can art?
He's an employee of Root Down. He's
Yeah,
he's our graphics guy. He
Yeah,
does our
so
social
that's what I mean,
media,
but he's
can
doing-
art, everything.
Yeah. So he's.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure. Yeah, he's doing can art.
Yeah.
He's doing the clothes.
No, I was not going
all
to
that
let that
stuff, the
talent
admin.
get away from me.
No,
But
that's
like
amazing.
I I knew Todd and I knew his graphic design skills. And when I came up with the Root Down logo, I drew it on a piece of paper. It doesn't look like what it looks like now, but I kind of went to Todd. I was like, hey man, like this is my concept. And he's like, oh yeah, let me work on that. And he just came up with an amazing concept and I loved it. And then I would be like, oh, we're doing our first can label. Can you help me with the design? He came up with an amazing can label. Then I'd pay him for another can label. And then I was like, this is too perfect. Like, dude, do you want a job?
Yeah.
Like, we can just use you.
Yep.
And it's been
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect.
his output over the last couple of years has been like relentless. Like,
Yeah.
it's just incredibly good.
Oh, yeah. I believe it. I can't tell you how many, PA elsewhere hats and shirts
You
that
see
I
it
bought.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I had everyone. Like, he put out a new shirt and I was on it
Yep.
immediately. Like, I absolutely loved all
And
that
we
stuff.
took that same business model. Of basically, like, we always come out with new shirts and it's a limited amount.
Yeah, it's like a hype beer release, but
but with
merch
the,
too.
just the
Yeah,
shirts. And then
That's
like
awesome.
people will be like, oh damn it, you got a new shirt. I got to buy this one too. Like, we're like, yeah, that's kind of the game plan.
What, this is going back, but what about the Root Down name? Where'd that come from?
So back when I was home brewing and I wanted to open a brewery, I always wanted to use the word roots. Roots just meant something to me. I don't know why. I mean, it's a cool word.
For sure.
And
It's got a lot of meaning. Like it just, you can interpret it so many different ways and just imagine different interpretations. I got you.
Yeah. So it was just to me, it was a word I wanted to use. And a buddy of mine who I was homebrewing with, Ollie, he was like, jokingly one day, he was like, man, you should just have, I was like, how about Two Roots or all, I can't remember all the other root names I wanted. And then he was like, how about Root Down from the Beastie Boys, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. But then and then I discovered Jimmy Smith's album, who is the creator of Root Down, that what the Beastie Boys took that song from, the sample.
Okay.
And I just became like amazed by it, and that like the Jimmy Smith version. And then I heard a story about Jimmy Smith making that album. And I don't know if it's a true story or not, but I'm going to repeat it like it is. The story was that Jimmy Smith took a bunch of young musical talent, fresh out of school and everything, and he said, hey, I want to make a live album, and I want all you guys to play on it, but forget everything you learned in school and just play from the heart. And I'm going to hit the record button, and we're just going to play.
Nice.
And then I was like, that's what I want to do with Root Down. I don't want a German trained brewmaster. I don't want, I want us to just brew from the heart, work from the heart, just hit the record button, and let's go.
Nice.
And I was like, that's kind of what I want. And then Root Down, the Beastie Boys name became Root Down Jimmy. And look, everybody comes in, they're like, the Beastie Boys? And I just go, yeah, that's it. Yeah. But, because I don't feel like getting into the story.
Sure, yeah.
But you made me do it. So.
Yeah. That's what we were wondering about. So tell us the story of Bine, if you could. Like you have you create the beer, you probably realize you're onto something. I don't even know how that process works. You just ship growlers out to Colorado,
it was
or
canned.
how does that work? Okay.
Yeah, we had to send canned beer out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how the beer was created was, and shout out to Steve Bischoff if he's listening, but Bine was an IPA that it was our fifth batch of beer that we made when we first opened. So the first batch of beer we did was a Saison, and then we did an American Pale Ale. Yeah, and then I think we did the Hefeweizen, and then the yeast from the Pale Ale, we created Bine. Now, all of the grain that I bought in when we first started to brew, we went through pretty quickly. And by the fifth batch, me and Steve were like, all right, this is the grain we have left. We have a little bit of Pils malt. We have a little bit of two-row. We have some Vienna. and then we have a mishmash of hops left over until I get more grain in.
Right.
You want to just make an IPA out of this?
Yeah.
And it was like, sure, let's
Okay,
do it.
nice.
So the recipe was just thrown together with what we had, knowing that it's gonna work. 2-row Pils Vienna.
Yeah.
That's an IPA. I've made many IPAs of just 2-row Vienna or Pils in Vienna.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or just Pils.
Yeah.
With a touch of Vienna. So we knew it was going to work. And again, this is where process comes in. Steve was just a master of process. Yes. So we create Vine. We love it right away. And people were like, wow, this is a great IPA. So now we're recreating this beer that we just kind of threw together.
Yep.
And that's what we stuck with.
Nice.
And then a couple months later, we can it up, send it out to. Now, Steve did do some tweaks. The first bind was 6.7%
That's right. Yeah.
ABV or 6.6.
Yeah.
And then we thought that the body needed to be a little drier.
Okay.
So we added some corn sugar to it just to kind of give us fermentable sugar, but lighten it up,
Okay.
like 100% fermentable sugar to kick the ABV up, but thin the body out a little bit.
Okay.
So that tweak was made. That was the only tweak made to it. A few hop adjustments with what we had, but
Okay.
yeah. And then we just sent it out to GABF, and we weren't expecting anything.
Yeah. So what was that experience like? I mean,
That was the weirdest experience ever.
again,
We weren't there.
Yeah, we weren't there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask somebody that was at the GABF what it was like. I don't know. We weren't there.
Yeah, but you're talking about like that moment when you realize that like the business is doing well and you're seeing all these people, enjoying your product. To get recognized in that way amongst your peers and people in the industry has got to just be like, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it was a holy crap moment. It was it was something that as a home brewer you always knew about GABF. To me it was the Super Bowl of competitions. And it happened, and I was super excited, and I remember Steve was super excited, the whole brewery, people, I got a text from Matt, who was a brewer, or still is, brewer from Iron Hill, and he was out at GABF, and I got a text from him first.
Okay.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
How do you find out? Yeah.
Were you refreshing the website?
No, I wasn't even watching. I was working. I was bartending. And and I got a text, and it was like, holy shit, dude, congrats. Oh, can we curse?
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
It was like,
Well,
holy.
You can now.
I said crap earlier, so you're probably like, yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah, I got
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. So I get this text, and it said, holy shit, dude, congrats.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what is this guy talking about? But he's a brewer. This is Matt. He's from Iron Hill. Like, what? Wait a minute. Did something happen? And I have no idea. And then, God damn, I can't remember who the other person was that texted me. And it's Stickman or something.
Right.
I got another text, and it was like, dude, and then it hit, and I was like, oh, something happened at GABF.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I had to ask these guys, what happened? And they're like, you're not here? What's going on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And I guess out of GABF, we were named Mid-Sized Brewery of the Year prior to them announcing our awards. So that's what they heard first, and they went, you had to have won some awards.
It's a point system. Yeah.
Yeah.
You win multiple
because
awards.
you were
that's how you get
awarded
that award.
this.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? Oh, shit. So then we start like, okay, we got to listen. What are we getting? And then it was.
Yeah, I remember it was a Saturday, and I'm sitting there on the couch, and I just started getting texts from like random numbers that weren't on my phone. And I was like, what kind of expert level trolling is this? Like, haha, real funny.
So you get mid-sized brewer of the year. That's got to be really cool. And how do they judge that? Is that
that's a point system.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's
that's
if
what you're saying.
we won the gold, so
Yep.
that was like 6 points, and then we won a silver, and that was 3 or 4 points.
Okay, I got
So it was
you.
like a point system, and that's how they award.
So what does that do for you as a business? Like, what did that change your clientele? Did you all of a sudden having people
course.
driving from other states, and did you pick up on any of that?
We did to a degree. I will say it was bittersweet, and this is gonna sound weird, but I it meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to all of us at Root Down. And I quickly discovered that the majority of the craft beer drinkers at the time, and I mean the 22-year-old Haze Boy untapped craft beer drinkers, they didn't give a shit about GABF.
Sure.
And they were just like, what? They don't make hazy beers. They suck. And so it was bittersweet where it's like, oh, we won this award. And people are like, well, whatever. This hazy brewery's better. And it's like, so it was like all this like negativity coming too. And you're just like, wait, can we even enjoy this? Like,
can you appreciate what this is?
And it's like, well, look at the Untapped of Vine. It's a fucking 4.2. And, this New York brewery far away from me that I traveled to, that's a 5. And you're like, oh, well, that's cool. I'm sorry. But experts told us that this is a good beer, not the 22-year-old that only knows haze shit. So so it's just kind of like a weird moment where you're like, well, what do you do with this? Do you boast about it? Do you be proud of it? Or because every time you try to be proud and be like, oh yeah, we won. We're the only East Coast brewery to win gold in American IPA category.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? It's like, but at the same time, you boast about it and people are like, yeah, whatever.
Well, but it's not
like, this brewery's better. And you're like, oh my God, like, I'm not saying it's not a, like, that's not what I'm saying.
It won.
So it was just weird. But no, we did get an influx of people coming in, traveling. Yeah, I remember, people from New Jersey, and I don't know if people traveled really far. But, so it was just kind of that happened, and it was kind of a scary thing too, because it's like, all right, well, we got to keep the momentum going, and now this big magnifying glass is on us,
right?
So people would come in for buying, and then, then they'd be like, okay, cool. And what hazies do you have? And we're like, well, we don't really do hazies. We got some unfiltered shit.
Yeah,
if you want to try that, So.
And it's funny that when I was thinking about this beer and when you guys won and everything, I was like, I wonder if they made that to specifically hit those style guidelines, because that's really what it is when you're out in that judging. It's how well are you hitting the style guidelines.
I don't think we consciously brewed it that way. We brewed it based off of beers we loved. Bell's Two Hearted, Headhunter, those style IPAs. That's what our vision was. And all of those beers I'm mentioning are award-worthy
style.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, that was the style guidelines we were trying to truly pinpoint. Piney, citrusy, hop profile.
But at the same time, you're just using what you had left at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, too.
Right.
And then you just, like, adjust it a little bit to make it a little better or whatever. But
even when – and that's what I told Steve at the time. I was like, it doesn't matter. It's Pils and 2-row. Like, I always made my IPAs with Vienna. I never used crystal malt and none of that stuff. It was always Vienna was the malt that kind of gave the maltiness, the subtle maltiness of the IPAs that I wanted to make.
Right.
So as long as we had that, I was like, no, this will be a great IPA.
Yeah.
This will be good. So, yeah.
Now that beer is fantastic. I just finished the Bine. I love the bitterness on that. It's just like, I don't know. Like I say, for everything that I like, it's got a great body. It's well balanced.
Yeah, it's
got everything.
Balance is the key. Yeah.
That's what he's got.
That's my vocabulary. If I like a beer, it's got a great body and it's well balanced.
Maybe not all our beers are about the body, but balance is always our focus on beers. Even when we do the hazy shit, it's we don't even say it's hazy. We just do unfiltered, murky shit. But we're not going down to 10 IBUs. Like, I still got to put at least 35 IBUs in there. Like, it's got to be it's got to be a balance. You can't have it so lopsided. To us, I'm not saying anybody else that does it. I'm just saying how Root Down wants to make their IPAs.
Yep.
And their hazy,
So how long ago was Bine GABF? That was we said 2018, right?
2018. I think they judge it in late summer, early fall, something like that. Like October. Yeah.
So a lot has the craft beer market, the amount of Pennsylvania breweries a lot has changed in that time.
Oh,
It's been a huge evolution.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of brews. Yeah.
What
You
is
kidding
it?
me? Like the craft beer world changes every 3 weeks. It feels
Yeah.
like.
For real.
For sure.
Like
So-
I mean that when this brewery opened, I had a list of like I had a vision of the direction and all that. And actually prior to Root Down opening, like that year of us like gearing up to open, the craft beer world was going so rapid. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean the changes and the what's the hype now? What's the new thing you got to do? It was so rapid. I mean, I think social media plays a big role into that too. Like
Sure.
but just it started going crazy to the point that we tried to make a conscious decision to not fall into that trap. Like just do what we do.
Yeah.
It's either gonna like continue to make we continued to make pilsners, we continued to make, and it wouldn't sell, and we'd only make 2 hazies on draft, and it would sell out quick, and then people would be like, I mean, there was times we were just out of hazy beer on draft.
Yeah.
We're like, oh well, we got Vine and we got this filtered. We had a beer called 1999 called They Want Their IPA Back, and it was just this, and we were like, we have that, and
Yeah.
like a 22-year-old going, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't want this.
I was
And
born
we're
in
like,
1999.
yeah, and you're just like, oh shit, just stick with it, just keep
Yeah.
going, and then hopefully the trend comes back or whatever. But
Do you feel like that's happening? Because I mean, I was admiring your tap list earlier, and Chris and I were talking. I was just like,
Eclectic, yeah.
yeah, there's just such a good balance of styles here, and so many.
balance.
There's not a ton of there's my word for the night or forever.
It's been such a, 2021 especially, just been such like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
In terms of beer, yeah.
Yeah.
We've tackled more lagers in the last year than I think we've ever have. Like,
It's nice that
Yeah, our
that-
last Pilsner was our fastest selling beer,
so
which has never happened before.
That's
and we
amazing.
brewed it, we put it out, and we're like, are you, like, it's gone already? And
yeah,
what, 3 weeks or something? Like,
I was like, wasn't a hazy IPA?
No,
okay,
yeah. And I love that lagers are coming back around. I don't love that they're coming with a caveat of things have to be trendy and it has to be on a side pull tap or
Yeah, right.
it has to be a milk pour.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool if that's how we need to get a younger generation
Yeah.
into it and they need a hype aspect to
Yeah.
it. That's cool. I'll play that game, but
Yeah,
I'm just happy that lagers are back, and I think they taste good on regular taps too.
I feel like that's got to be a tough balance because somebody like me, I feel like I would want to just go like I would just chase the hype, and I would be like,
Yeah,
we're gonna do all hazies, and we're gonna sell a billion things, and we're gonna crank them out quickly, and who cares? Dump whatever you want in there. We'll triple dry hop it and call it something crazy, and do a different name every week. And
I chased the dollar a few times.
Yeah,
but you
it's
want
gotta
to go
be a
down that road
balance at some point, right?
But then it goes back to what I said about Jimmy Smith about playing from the heart.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, I'm just not excited
Well, that's
about this tap list.
Yeah.
So
But every once in a while, you got to keep the lights on.
yeah,
You got to make.
Absolutely.
You got
Correct.
to. You got to buy the instruments.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Totally.
we had a talk with somebody that we all know, and I said, man, you've got one of the best brewers that we know in the area. Like, if you guys just cranked out hazies, like, you could probably do it better than some of like the most whatever, and you guys could probably just have people lining up like crazy, but you guys just don't have like a crazy hazy IPA. And he's like, well, that's just not what we're about, and we're just going to stick to what we do. And and then he just like keeps doing well, and it's like, how awesome is that to just stick to your guns and do what you want, and you have a packed place on a Friday, Saturday night, like you're saying, and everybody's having a good time, and you're like, but I did it my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Very gratifying.
That's got to be like the best feeling.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love our guests that come in here, and they're a different breed. The guests that come in here are enjoying each other's company. Very rarely am I seeing them drinking a beer while on Untapped and judging it. Right then,
Right, yeah.
I just see them enjoying the moment, and that's the crowd we're playing to.
Yeah.
And that's and and that's what they want, and that's what we're giving them.
What do you say to some? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say too, like I love the fact that we have such an eclectic offering. Like I love that, like in the last year, it's like I think we've done like 20, 30 different styles. It's like it's not just been like a hazy this or pilsner. Like it's not like no, we exist on multitudes. We can do a triple, like we can do an ESB. Like I love having that kind of freedom, you know. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's got to be so much fun as a brewer, just to be able to like not get stuck doing something because it's like
it really is.
This is what we got to do. Like we're gonna experiment, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna do the different styles, and you keep just continue to learn.
If I had to make 5 beers over and over again, and like now is it, I'd be like, I'd be down for.
Yeah.
And I said to Chris a while ago, the past year, I'm drinking the dark lager right now. All these beers are Chris's creation, but like styles that I personally like. I'm a Pilsner drinker. I drink Pils, drink Helles, like that. Prima Pils, Victory Prima Pils. Give it to me all day. That's my go-to. But this past year, I've been drinking everything Chris is brewing, dark lager, like even the Hefeweizen, the wit beer. Like it's just he's killing it.
Yeah,
with
awesome.
Just all these styles that I would never go out to a bar and order.
Yeah,
but I just enjoy the hell out of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just been fun to, you know, I don't know, just change it up, you know, just for the sake of like, hey, let's let's just do a Vienna lager. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, like, you know, like research the hell out of it, you know, just try to do it as by the book as I can, or like put our twist on it. Like it's just so gratifying to
That's our chef right there, guy.
Yeah,
incredible.
That guy?
Yeah, he's leaving.
I saw you guys doing it's like a vegan Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday. That's become like our greatest. But tonight's kind of slow. Tonight's kind of a slow night, just in town in general. But yeah, the vegan stuff. You know, we used to do Wild Wednesdays, and we were getting exotic meats in.
I saw that, like ostrich and boar,
kangaroo, and we were just going nuts with it. And then I can only find so much legal
wild
meat that we could sell. So stuff started repeating so much and everything. So then we were just like, all right, we need a new special for Wednesday. And I like to just go from one extreme to the other. So I was like, let's do all vegan.
Yeah.
And Guy, our chef, he's not a vegan, but he's a talented chef that knows flavors. And he just started putting vegan stuff out. Now it's become like our busiest night of the week.
That's awesome.
And people travel. Talk about traveling for beer. People are traveling pretty far for the vegan menu.
That's awesome.
Because they're not just getting a seitan cheesesteak. You know what I mean? Like what vegans are always forced to eat when they go out. They're getting gourmet, fine dining vegan options. Like he's just putting out some incredible stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And actually our new spring menu is going to be almost 50% vegan now.
Nice.
So
I thought maybe Swarma was here cooking up the vegan stuff. Watching the Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, does that bad vegan? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Me and my wife started that last night. I got 5 minutes into it, and I was like, nah, I gotta get really high. Like more high than to watch this. So
it didn't
I just grab me right away.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So we're all sipping on this stout here. Chris, you want to tell us a little bit about what this is?
Oh yeah, this is a Wimp. It's our we're calling it a dry stout, so DRYE. So it's a 4% stout brew with rye. So there's a little bit of rye malt and flaked rye in it, in addition to some chocolate malts, and I think we had some other specialty malts in it as well. I would say kind of Guinness-like, but like way more intensely like flavored than that. I get a lot of like baker's chocolate and coffee kind of notes out of it. We did when I first started a couple of years ago, we did a stout on nitro that was a bit stronger, and I think we had some like kind of dispensing issues like that, so we kind of like went away from like any kind of nitro pour for years. And this was kind of like a reintroduction to that system. We were like, let's take a really hard look at like our dispensing system and just try to like really nail a nitro pour. So this was kind of my baby for like a good like couple weeks of my life, just trying to make sure like it needs to pour properly, you know. Like, and I need that cascading effect, or else I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
So we definitely put a lot of time into this, you know, very simple 4% beer. trying to make it as perfect as we could, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, no, I love the chocolate notes in this and the roastiness, and it's not too heavy either.
Yeah, 4%. It is deceiving. Like like Guinness, it looks like it's going to be like a mouthful, but it actually goes down super silky, super sweet.
Yeah, really easy.
I like that it's not an ashtray, which some of the Irish stouts get to me, and I'm just like, this just tastes like an ashtray. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Intense roast. Yeah, that a lot of chocolate malt.
Yeah. Chocolate. I think it was rye malt, chocolate rye, and then there's I think a little bit of carafa, which is like a darker dehusked kiln malt. They'll just get like some dark like coffee notes to it.
Yeah, nice. No, I like that a lot. So what gets you excited about brewing these days? What keeps you coming up with new ideas or things like that to try to keep up either with trends or with how you think people are going to buy beer?
Lately it's been like the opposite of trends has been getting me excited. We recently came out with a red rye IPA, which is maybe the least trendy beer we've ever done, and I love it.
Oh no, yeah, you gave me a sample of it over there.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was really good.
Yeah, I think it's just not in like a trolling way, but kind of going against the grain has just been kind of a lot of fun for me. Like here's a bunch of hazies, and then we're like, hey, here's a here's a Vienna lager, here's a red rye IPA, here's a Schwartz beer. It's like very old styles that people don't do that much anymore. I kind of love tossing that into the checking that box on our tap list and saying like, hey, you have a hazy, you have a West Coast, you have this, but like, hey, try this as well. This is something that's like you're probably not going to get anywhere else in this area. I love chasing that kind of carrot, being like, hey, here's something that's no one else is doing. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you guys balance your space and time for your lager program?
Good.
Is that the bane of your existence? Is that something that you say, we're going to do this and we're just going to figure it out no matter what, because that's what we're going to do?
So we, Chris has an amazing process for making the lager. Me as the owner, I'm going to him. Hey, Chris, can we cut
that back a couple weeks?
Can we? We had this discussion this morning.
Yeah.
So, like literally, I said, when's the Wakatu Pills ready? And he goes, mid-April. And I go, okay, so April 10th, be ready? And he's like, yeah. And that's why we tasted it today. And look, we're only going to put it through when it's ready.
Yeah.
As much as I want it to go faster, if it doesn't taste right or it just needs time, we're going to do it. And we don't, I wish we were that organized. We're not. We're just like literally we're going, no, it's ready to go now. And then we'll have a tasting session sometimes and go, I think we can move it up a week. Let's move it along.
I always wonder if, obviously when all this thing exploded, 16, 17, 18, IPAs really helped bring everything up. And I wonder if Pilsners and lagers didn't catch that coat ride because of space and time.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. I think a lot of it was also breweries not having the proper equipment to cool and all that kind of stuff. It was I think that's exactly the case with that.
I've been calling Year of the Lager for what now, like 3 years?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's finally caught up to my prediction.
Yeah, we've been saying it for 5. Every year I'm like, nah, I think this is the year. Let's just keep making the Hellas. And it'll catch on.
I thought about this too. It's like something like it's almost like there's a natural conflict between like what the brewer wants and what the ownership wants. It's like, I want to advocate for the beer, but also like we have to get it to market and make sure it sells so we can stay in business. It's like you got to meet in between. Like that's been my take on it. Like my job is to manage the expectations and just be like, hey, like it could be better if we do this, but like we can get it out now. We got to find that middle ground all the time.
I hear a couple brewers talk about it like a famous actor or director. They'll do the one for the they'll do the popcorn movie, they'll do the one for them, and they'll do the one for me, the art house kind of fancy flick that not many people are going to watch, but that's their art. That's how they're marrying that together.
That's a great way to say it.
Yeah,
so true.
So what has happened? I feel like we've been focusing so much on the early days, right? but you've got another location now,
Well,
or what?
kind of.
What do you want to
Yeah,
call it?
sure.
Explain that.
It's a weird location. So a property at the other end of Phoenixville opened up, which had a lot of outdoor space. And one thing we're lacking here at this location is an outdoor beer garden.
Yep.
When that property popped up, again, just the universe being aligned, a local barbecue restaurant had a small location. Their landlord was looking to sell the property. So the owner, Brian of Uncle B's Barbecue, just came and talked to me about not us creating a relationship, but he was just kind of saying, like, how does your license work for another restaurant or so? And I was like, that's weird you asked that, because the owner of this property wanted to buy that outdoor property with a building on it. And he talked to me the week prior, and I was like, no, I'm not doing another location because I don't want to open another restaurant.
Yeah.
I would do another brewery, but I want nothing to do with food. So now I have a guy that owns a restaurant going, hey, how does this work out? And I was like, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
We all need to get together and talk. So what ended up happening is I entered into a lease at this other property.
Yep.
Uncle B's Barbecue became a part of that. They control the food.
Yep.
We control the bar. And then I have a big outdoor property, almost 3/4 of an acre or quarter acre or half an acre or something for an outdoor beer garden, something that we've lacked.
Yep.
So now, I mean, we're ramping it up. Mid-April, we'll be open for our 3rd year out there. So now we have a big outdoor beer garden. So you can call it another location. I guess it is, but
it's kind of like an extension of this. It's not that far away, but it's
not
also
that far away. It's
next,
in the same
it's
town.
not next door.
It just allows our guests that want to experience Root Down on a beautiful day to experience Root Down on the outside.
Yeah.
That's kind of
that's awesome.
But it's a great location. I mean, we have awesome music. A lot of Dead cover bands come through.
Nice.
Just really cool music out there.
Yeah, just a different vibe. Another way to enjoy it.
That's exactly it. And then teamed up with a Southern barbecue joint. So our vibe down here, hip hop, fun, colorful, energy. It's a different vibe down there. It's laid back, bluegrass bands, Dead cover bands. You know, just a different energy.
Do you guys still do kung fu movies?
We do on 2 of the TVs. We didn't do it for a while because, I mean, again, you can't please everyone. So we used to always put it on, and then guests would come in and go, can I get golf on that TV?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, this is 36 chambers. Like, what are you talking about? Like, like now. And then people would be like, well, hey, look, or it's March Madness now, right? So look, Villanova's in it. Can we get the Villanova game? So it got such a pain in the ass for our bartenders that I said, look, we'll just go back to sports. No more kung fu. Then the emails and the messages started coming in. Where's the kung fu? Bring back the kung fu. So finally I brought that back, which I want, but you know, still we put it on, and then you know,
somebody's
a Villanova game, naturally we're going to put Villanova on. Flyers game, we're going to put Flyers on. So
I would rather watch the Kung Fu.
Yeah,
Flyers.
Well, you're not kidding.
100%.
Yeah.
What's new and exciting? What's coming up for Root Down?
Oh, what's coming up for Root Down? Well, like I said, the beer garden, Root Down Beer Garden. We have a separate Facebook page and everything for that. But mid-April, that's going to be opening, and that's just 4 blocks down from this location. As far as some fun new beers coming up, we have a big stout coming our way in the middle of summer or spring. That's how we like to do it. To be honest, we brewed a while ago. We brewed a Russian Imperial Stout, and then shit hit the fan, and I was like, "There's no way I'm using the name Russian." So
Ukraine Imperial Stout.
So we decided to switch it up. We're going to add coffee to it, some vanilla, and we're going to call it an Imperial Pennsylvania Breakfast Stout.
Nice.
And it's called Dippy Eggs.
I love that.
Yeah, so we got it. Todd came up with a really cool logo.
Nice.
Or label. So that beer, Dippy Eggs, will be coming out soon in cans. And then we're going to take half that batch, It has coffee in it as well. I don't know if I said that. We're going to take half that batch, put it in Pennsylvania whiskey barrels, let that age for a while, and then we'll have cans called Dippy Eggs and Scrapple. And that'll be coming out. So
Nice.
we have that coming up. We have an awesome 420 show coming up. We teamed up with, we did a collaboration brew called Electric Sheep with Truck North from The Roots. And he's going to be releasing his new album called Electric Sheep.
Who's that?
Truck North. He was part of the Roots crew.
Yeah, what,
well, it's like a they're just
yeah,
a
but
whole
like what
gang.
instrument? You have any idea?
No, he's just
Okay,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love the Roots. But
Yeah. So he just released he's going to be releasing a new album produced by Rock Bottom, Rocco from Death by Bong. I don't know if you know him. Remember Death by Bong? Great band. So they're going to be performing on 420.
Nice.
We got a big 420 show coming up. We're going to have some bunch of fun stuff, some rolling papers to give out, some paraphernalia, some all kinds of things. So
Nice.
look for that announcement coming soon.
Okay,
So
awesome.
big 420 show here
At Root Down Brewing, right?
at Root Down. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So, I don't know. Chris is doing some cool pilsners.
Yeah. We got a single hop Wakatu pills coming out. It's like
Yeah.
That I'm making him release
Yeah.
a week
yeah,
earlier.
Yeah.
but it's just like the simplest beer. But I
Yeah,
took a
but
sample.
you love. Yeah, you
I
said you loved it, right?
took a sample from the tank today, and I was like, yes, this is
Yeah.
everything I want. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think? You ready for toast?
Do a toast.
Let's do it.
How about a beer?
Might Be Brews presents the toast of the week.
Oh my God, dude.
All right, I'm going first. My toast of the week. I guess I've got two. One of them is going to be to you, Mr. Steve. Happy birthday, which was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
I'm
birthday,
old.
bud.
Thank you.
Also, I think you and I talked about this earlier. I feel like I've been shouting this out like every week, but our good friends Brett and Laura that have been on the show, they just had their first baby. That was I guess last week, baby Jack. So shout out to you guys, congratulations, and yeah, that's my toast of the week. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Cheers. I have no
this is
beer.
his first Jack's first toast.
Yeah, Jack's first toast. Probably not going to be his last. If I keep this up, he'll get one like every other week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My toast is going to be to all the people that took the time to wish me a happy birthday on Facebook. It was funny. I'm looking through. You get the notification and you go see who it is, and the first thing you usually get like a memory, like, oh, I remember going to school with that guy, or I remember doing this activity with that guy. And I have a very eclectic friends list because I did a lot of different activities, and I never like mixed friends.
Yeah.
Like when I was teaching my percussion stuff, like I had my percussion friends, and then there's the high school friends, and then there's the beer friends. And
Yep.
Seeing all those different people, it just made me thankful that I got to experience a lot of different types of people in my life. And shout out to everybody that took the time.
That's awesome. Shout out, guys. Cheers. You guys have anything you want to do?
I'll do one. Well, it's kind of weird. My sister, who's been the most COVID conscious member of our family, she got it,
Yeah.
and today's day 5. So
Nice.
get back to work, Kara. So, yeah. So cheers to her for
Cheers to
taking
her.
day 5. Yeah,
She's got it.
Congrats
And she
on
made it through.
Congrats on breaking the seal.
exactly.
Yeah, I thought it's such a different feeling. Like, I got all the vaccines, the booster, and still got it. You know what I mean? And don't know if I had it before or not, but it's just like it just feels good to like have it done now. Like
Exactly,
you've done it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
it's
like, okay, I've had it, I've got immunity plus boosters. I'm probably in good shape, and I'm on the other end of it now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a good feeling.
I'm still a virgin.
yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, I never got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. I took so many. I mean, obviously, in this business, you got to be aware of it. And
Yeah.
I have gotten sick.
Yeah.
Since it started, I have felt horrible. I have taken test
Tests
after
and
test,
tests.
and, it's-
Yeah.
and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, just I wanted to say I have it.
Yeah.
Like, not because I want it, but I'm like, I'm sick. Like, it has to be it.
Yeah, I know. I
And then
got
like,
really
oh.
sick a couple of times and kept testing positive. And I was like, oh, I've got a sniffle. And there it is.
Crazy.
I'll knock on church bench here.
Yeah.
Closest I've been to a church bench in quite some time. I gotta be quite honest with you.
Mike, I don't know if you knew this was coming, but you got one?
Oh, a toast? No, I don't. How about a geez, just a toast to you guys for coming out and doing this. It's long overdue. I'm glad we finally got to do it.
Yeah, and
It's been awesome.
I feel like I'm cutting it short. Like I feel like we could sit here and talk for another
We really
hour
could.
and a
I mean,
half
honestly,
easily.
like how long have we been talking? I don't even know.
I mean, we've been on the air for at least an hour and a half.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually try to stick to an hour, a little bit over.
Okay.
So we're definitely we're
Yeah.
coming up on an hour and a half now.
Let's do your longest show in history. Let's
Yeah.
just keep going. Let's do it.
No, we did one during COVID times.
Oh,
like the
a Zoom
original
one or
COVID
something?
time, the Zoom.
Yeah.
It had to be 3.5 hours.
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I want to
sure.
break that record. Yes, let's go.
Let's do this again because I think it's
Yeah.
crazy that
Well,
For
you
one
know
that it
what?
took
We
so
have a
long.
lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
We should get East Branch up here, or
We
yeah,
do
we
the
should do
round
it-
table.
yeah,
We
we
should
did
do
a
a
Brewers
combination,
roundtable
yeah.
that was so much fun. Everybody had a good time, and it was during COVID. So like Brothers Kirshner, the
Yeah.
East Branch guys, Stolen Son,
Let's
I
get
forget who
animated.
else.
Like we can get them
Yeah,
all together.
exactly. Let's just have a good
Yeah.
time and chat, and you guys can talk shop a little bit, and we can ask questions, stuff we want to know about, and I think it would just be a fantastic time.
Yeah. We did a podcast here. God, like 3 years ago. It
Yeah.
was Tired Hands. It was me, Gene,
Oh yeah.
I listened
Sean
to it, the Beer Buster
McGettigan,
guy.
Dylan.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a cool one. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun.
We should do that again.
Yeah.
And this is a good spot for
I
it.
think some people might have been drinking during that episode.
Ooh, and smoking.
yeah.
I said drinking.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I said smoking.
Trying to.
I was there. I know what was going on.
Well, Mike, Chris, thank you guys so much for having us and spending the time with us. It was a fantastic time
Yeah.
talking with you,
Yeah.
Chris. It was great to meet you.
too.
It was an absolute blast. But guys, if you took the time to watch, to listen, to share, to follow us, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving us your attention, and we will talk to you next time.